Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. One of my favorite topics, thought transmissions, can also work against us a little bit. I've been playing around with this and done some studying on this, really spent a lot of time with this, frankly, and it really started many years ago with the James Redfield's Celestine Prophecies. There's a part in the book, and I'm going off of memory here. I've seen the movie like once. I've read the book a couple times. There's a place in the book where the main character was interested in this lady in the book. It's someone that he was, I think, on a bus with and a few different things. Like he was kind of traveling with her, and he was attracted to her. And he kind of had the hots for her, if you will. From that experience, he kind of sent energy to her in that way, and that's kind of how, that's why I always talk about energetics. Talked about it too with Einstein, right? We're all energy, the whole 9 yards, okay? If you want to change anything, you change the energy. So I've always been fascinated with the aspect of energy, certainly from reading Celestine Prophecies eons ago, plus many other books. And really, energetics is what it's all about. So in this case, guy was interested, and the way they described it, and I like it, was he was essentially sending energy to her, like a beam of energy, and it was hitting her. Now, the energy, essentially, that was hitting her was sort of a sexual attractive energy. It was kind of an energy in that sort of way, right? A little more of a physical, a little more of a guy kind of, ooh, you're attractive. I want to see what you look like. You know, like it's that whole energy. She was not receptive to that energy. So because of that, it felt awkward. It felt uncomfortable. She'd start closing up and started kind of closing that doorway to him. Now, in the end, he ended up to learn to control that energy, to kind of look at her differently, to understand she was a spiritual being, that she was more than just a physical thing. And they were able to basically create a wonderful friendship. I don't know if they actually got any more intimate than that. I don't think so. And they, spent the rest of the book together, kind of traveling and going through this adventure that they were on. Now, if you guys haven't read James Redfield, it's amazing. I love Celestine Prophecies, 10th Insight, and then the Keys of Shambhala or something Shambhala, whatever the heck. Amazing. Loved all three of those books. And they were hugely effective. And they definitely get into the concept of thought transmissions. I wanted to talk a little more about that concept and kind of talk about how many of us might be very interested in somebody. Maybe it's someone that doesn't know you. Maybe it's someone that does know you, but you're just friends. Maybe it's someone that you've had a falling out with, and they're maybe angry at you. In these situations, you can send energy to people. Well, we've talked about it. Let's go ahead and take a step back first. Thought transmissions. Again, whenever you think of someone, you instantly create a bridge between you and them. I call it a thought bridge. I like it. It works for me. So you instantly create a thought bridge between you and them. Instantly. All you do is think of them. There's no fancy footwork. There's no hand gestures. There's no rah, right? You don't have to do anything other than think of them. So just pick someone right now. Someone, your special person, significant person. Think of them. Okay, you just created a thought bridge with them. That's it. That's all you had to do, just by thinking of them. Now, the way thought transmissions work is, what are you feeling while you think of them? At the exact second you're thinking of them, how are you feeling? That's what you send them. You send them that feeling. What does that feeling mean? It could be taken a number of ways. But when that feeling is of a negative, when that feeling is in a direction that someone's not comfortable with, it can become a very awkward experience for the receiver of the energy. So say, for example, there's someone that you are super attracted to, but maybe they're just friends. Maybe they're just friends with you, and maybe you like them more than that. And so maybe you spend a lot of time, maybe in your mind, maybe whatever, thinking of them in ways that are fun and enjoyable, but maybe not necessarily the way they see you. And so we spend a lot of time kind of having these little fantasy experiences and putting a lot of that energy towards them. Since they don't see you that way currently anyways, since that's not how this reaction is between you two, since that's not this relationship that you have right now, it creates an awkwardness. They may not fully understand what it is. They may completely understand that you're giving off that creepy vibe. Maybe you're giving off that sexual vibe. Maybe you're giving off that predator vibe, right? Like, depends. I mean, a lot of women can take this a whole lot of ways, and I think it depends. There's a lot of us pushed out as well coming from them, right? But again, you're sending an energy that may not be welcome. And what that does is that causes people to put up their emotional guard, their blocks. Like, stay away. Like Wonder Woman with her bracelets, right? They try to keep you from getting in. They try to reflect it back. They don't feel comfortable. It's not an accepting feeling. Now, again, if they're your friends and you send them feelings of friendship, you think of them and you're like, man, I'm just really looking forward to hanging out with you. Your good times. Like, maybe we can just, we'll go to Disneyland for the day and have fun and just enjoy each other, right? You're not necessarily thinking of them in any sort of sexual way or any of that kind of stuff, right? Well, that's a different feeling. That's, to them, is very comfortable. It's very comforting. They're used to that feeling. That's a feeling they can relate to. It's a feeling they can react to positively. You're sending a very friendly kind of vibe, and they're friendly with you. They're going to respond to that well. And certainly that's a great way to build a friendship. The same thing can happen from a standpoint of loving someone so much. Maybe they're not interested in you yet. Okay, I'm not saying you can't manifest. I am saying you can. And at the end of this, I'm going to try to see if I can help us hone these thought transmissions to benefit us more than hurt us. So this is kind of more for those of us out there that have maybe a stronger desire to be with someone than maybe they have back. Now, for those of you that are talking, you're chit-chatting, you're going back and forth, they know you like them, you know they like it, right? You've kind of got something going on. Maybe they're far away, maybe not. Your thought transmission should be a lot of fun. You should maybe play some games when you're doing it, right? You can maybe get online, do some video stuff. I'm just saying, just throwing out some ideas. That's perfectly healthy. It's when there's an imbalance right off the bat, meaning when I want them more than they want me at the moment, right? There's a lot of us, I think, in that place where we're trying to manifest a specific person that may not even know we exist, may be angry with us, may not see us on a regular basis. Maybe they're just friends and they haven't crossed that boundary yet. We could have extremely strong feelings for them, loving feelings, very strong loving feelings. And we frequently think of them and then we just get into it. Tears come from our eyes. We just love them dearly. Problem is, if they're not quite at that place yet, much like Celestine prophecies, if they're not quite at that place yet, and you're sending this intense energy, that can scare people off. That literally can scare people off because now you're popping into their head and they get this weird, like, if they're not at a place where they're loving you back, that feeling can feel kind of weird. It can feel uncomfortable. It can feel creepy. It can feel like someone wants me too badly, like, they like me so much. I don't know, right? Like, it can feel out of balance. And that out of balance kind of feeling will definitely not assist you in trying to manifest. In fact, it generally does the opposite. It kind of pushes people away because it feels so intense and they're not ready for it. And the same can be said about sexual energy. I know guys, well, women do it too, but I know guys have a, we'll go blind kind of thing, right? We have our bad habits that some of us use, maybe more than we should. But that all being said, sometimes sending that energy with someone that's not into you in the same way can, again, be very disturbing. Now, to the contrary, someone that is interested in you like that, someone that does like you like that, that actual feeling can be very liberating, can be very exciting. So what's the important part? What's the takeaway on this? The takeaway is understand your audience. Understand the person that you're trying to manifest in your life. Understand how they feel about you. Where is that feeling? Is it close to where you're at? Is it way below where you're at? Or is it even potentially way above where you're at? And you're the one that needs to kind of get your energy up to snuff. Try to come at them from an energy that's more similar to where their energy is right now. Now, I understand you love them, and I understand you think crazy about them all the time. What I'm trying to get you to understand is it's okay to love, but it's when we think of them for the moment, we're like, oh, I just love you so much, and I just want to be with you, and right? Like, you get into that weird kind of, like, just odd, needy, strong, crazy love, but they've never reciprocated it back. That's out of balance, right? Like, you don't even know for sure necessarily that this relationship's going to work because we haven't necessarily spent time being intimate. looking in each other's eyes, having communications, having dinners together, like spending the night, like all the different things that can start to happen that really do build out a relationship and find out if we're compatible. You haven't done any of those things. Yet you've already got this really intense, strong feeling. You want to try to back that up a hair. It is totally okay to love. I'm not saying it's not. But what I'm saying is the way to slowly help somebody get to where you're at. It's kind of the adage of when you put a lobster in boiling hot water, right? It'll do everything it can to try to get out. It's like, it's super hot. And it tries instantly, it's just like horrible, right? But if you put a lobster in cold water, right? And just let it, and it's all, oh, cool, nice. And it's swimming around inside the pot, and you turn it on, and it slowly gets warmer, and slowly gets warmer, and slowly gets warmer. Eventually, that lobster kind of goes in a very peaceful, easy way, doesn't hurt, and he doesn't panic. He warms up to the idea, if you will. It's the same when we manifest. It's the same when we do thought transmissions. You want them to warm up to the idea. If you're coming at them way too intense, you're pushing them away. I can almost promise you that. If you're coming at them closer to where they're at, maybe they're more friends with you, then just maybe knock it up a hair. Let's try to see if we can get some hugs out of each other once in a while, a little more often. Let's see if we can get some more hugs, right? Currently, right now, I maybe hug once in a while. Maybe I hug when I first see him, and that's it. Maybe I hug when I say goodbye. All right? So I'm going to try to enhance that up to maybe where they give me a couple hugs while we're hanging out. Maybe they start doing that little like body touching, right? Like you're talking and they put their hand on your arm and you're like, oh man, they're touching me, right? Like let's try to build it up from there. And then once the arm touching starts happening, maybe it's that small of the back. Maybe it's they're opening doors for you and it's like, oh, this is kind of cool, right? Like kind of slowly allow it to move into deeper waters, if you will. When you jump too quickly into the deeper waters, it's shock, it's freaky. It's like dropping that lobster in the super hot water. It's crazy. And people respond poorly to that if they're not close enough energetically. So for those of you out there that are trying to figure out a way to bridge this gap with this person that you feel so strongly for, step it down a notch. You probably likely are coming at it from a very intense standpoint, and that energy they feel is extremely intense and probably a little uncomfortable. Doesn't mean they don't like you, and it doesn't mean that this can't work out. What this means is there's an energy imbalance. You need to bring that balance a little closer. I understand you want to lead the horse to water, so you want to be a little ahead of them energetically. You're going to help lead that energy into the direction you're wanting to go. But when they're here and you're way up here, that's a big gap. And that feels awkward to them. You're like, oh, I love you, I love you, I love you. And they're like, ooh, gross. No, I don't even know you, right? In their minds, it's impossible. So instead, you lower it, a little warmer water, and they're like, oh, hey, yeah, no, that's kind of cool. Yeah, I never really thought, yeah, why don't we go see a movie sometime? That'd be fun. You know, a couple friends go see a movie, right? So they're still in that friend thinking phase, but now you're doing a little more. Now, of course, being a guy that's been everyone's friend and don't want to ruin the friendship, that's been the plight of my life, right? You want to be careful, if you're a guy, being trapped in the friend zone. I'll be totally honest. And ladies, friends with benefits is not going to help you either. A guy will use you in a heartbeat to get that. I mean, frankly, let's just be honest. A lot of guys, that's really what they're after. A lot of guys, not all, not yours, but a lot. So we've got to keep that balance. Be careful. Don't just friends with benefits, because that's going to backfire. And don't get stuck in the friend zone as a dude. That's going to backfire. Trust me. Been there. Done it. Bought the t-shirt. In fact, I probably got a whole stack of them. And it's okay. I've got some wonderful friends. And it's great when you've got a wonderful friendship. But when you're trying to ease it out of the friend zone, that can be a little irritating. Now, of course, there have been times in the past where I've managed to take friendships a little further. And in some cases, it was awesome. In some cases, it was awkward. We were like, we should have stayed friends. And in some cases, I've even ruined friendships. So again, I've played with law of attraction for many, many, many years. And I'm fascinated by the way we interact with other people. Energetically, it is a trip how people respond to each other. Not trying to get into the whole us pushed out thing. That's a debate. I love talking about it, but people have very differing opinions on it, and that's fine. Everyone has their own understanding of that concept. But energetically speaking, people feel what we're sending, people feel what we are feeling, and they respond to that. And depending on how you're coming at them, how much intensity, how close to their level it is, whatever, makes all the difference in how they respond. In radio, there's an adage that you frequently live with, and it's called know your audience. Whenever you're talking about something, you could be on a regular music thing, and maybe I was like when I was on classic rock, right? I was on classic rock. And then all of a sudden, maybe AC/DC is not my favorite band. I actually like them, but whatever. Maybe AC/DC is not my favorite band, though I'm on a classic rock station, and I start ripping on AC/DC. Just, something came up in the news. I don't know, maybe whatever, right? So I decide to talk about it. I give a bad spin to AC/DC. And then all of a sudden, a bunch of the people that are listening to my station change channels because the idiot DJ is talking about someone they love in a bad way. You got to know your audience. You want to rip on maybe Hall & Oates when you're on that classic rock station? Hey, you might be able to pull that off, right? They might laugh at that because that's a little soft, even though I like Hall & Oates too. Be a little upset if someone started ripping on Hall & Oates. In fact, Oates oddly looked like my uncle. A picture of him here. Passed away a few years ago, but my uncle, good guy. So yeah, that all being said. It's a lot of very cool experiences that we share with each other. If you're having issues trying to get someone up to your speed, bring down your energy a hair. Help them get to where you're at. Help them help themselves, if you will. Help them help you. Bring it down a notch. Get it a little closer. Try to see if you can start to step into the energetic feelings that are going to get you guys moving in the right direction. Now, when we talk about manifesting, I say don't worry about the middle ground, and I'm still not talking about affecting the, quote, manifestation. I'm not saying you're trying to change the way things are going to manifest. I'm saying alter the energy that you're sending to them because that's going to help their side of this. It's going to help get them on the same page as you. It's going to help them transition their feelings into a better place that will benefit you. Then the middle ground will happen easier because the energetics are in favor of it. But when you're coming at someone from a real intensity and they aren't there yet, you're killing your manifestation. There's no manifestation to be had because the energy's so backwards, they will never go down that path. They won't choose you. They won't allow it. They don't want to be alone with you because it feels so intense. Or maybe you're going to get all weird and clingy and freak them out. Maybe you'll start stalking them. Oh my God, I've dated people that just started showing up places like, no, this is not okay. So don't come across as the crazy person for sure. And try to see if you can inch them towards where you already feel. I know you're way up here. You're way up here. They're down here. Bring yours down a notch. And then slowly get it moving up like the lobster in the hot water. Slowly raise the temperature. And before you know it, you're having dinner with your significant person. It's Dan RadioStyle.